Hi guys, it's Mike here from KS Bushcraft Down Under. Well, I've decided to remove the dual battery system out of my Hilux. So I put that in 2018 and it has worked perfectly well, okay? Now, I was recently away for 9 days and that Evercool icebox there lasted the 9 days. And that Evercool icebox weighs 13 kilos, okay, and I had 2 8-kilo blocks of ice in it, and just before I left I topped up with half a bag of party ice, so it was chock full, but it went the full 9 days of camping, opening it multiple times a day, milk in, milk out, all that stuff. So that's a pretty impressive performance. Now to run my car fridge, I've got 2 days on that battery before I need to recharge it, okay? So 2 days, 9 days. So to get that battery, keep it going in the field, I've got a solar blanket. I did price it up, so it's an amorphous blanket by Red Arc. It's now $2,600. Now, surprisingly enough, unless I'm very remote, I don't like leaving that on the ground. Someone would easily fold it up and take it away, and I would be really unhappy. So I'll run through what I've had. My ARB Elements fridge is $1,700. That DC to DC solar is $600. Tray about $140. Battery $420, which is now died. About $200 worth of cables, so $5,600 odd. I did all the labour. So if you're paying someone to put it in, more than that. Okay. Now, the battery weighs 24 kilos. The tray and the DC to DC and the bolts and nuts at 7 kilograms. A solar blanket weighs in just under 5. All the cables, because I don't want to park the car in the sun just so I can get the solar blanket in the sun. So I've got plenty of cables. I can do a good long run. So that's 8 kilos. Normally if I have the fridge, I have a 240 volt lead, so I can take advantage of the shore power if available. So the ARB fridge weighs 31.8 kilos, plus I've got the locking brackets because I don't want anyone pinching it. All in up, allowing for some voltage management gear so I can keep an eye on what's in the batteries, and the cabling between the engine bay and the tub to run the fridge. All up, we're looking at 100 kilos in that dual battery system. Yeah, compared to 13 kilos plus ice. That's a huge difference. Now, according to the automotive gurus, they're taking spare wheels out of the car because they're about 35 kilos and it saves 1% of fuel. And at some point, you're turning diesel from the engine into electricity to charge that battery. It's going to be a very small amount, but it must be measurable. It must be the equivalent to running with the headlights on. So there's no free lunch in the electricity department. That's what the guys are banging on about going induction cooktops off-road and all this. They're forgetting that changing one energy source for another, you're changing bottled gas, for 240 to power appliances. So there's absolutely no free lunch anywhere in the world. So I've changed the cabling. When I put the cabling into the back of the cab and the tray, I left enough, I'll show you in a bit, so I can connect that cabling directly to the crank battery. Cool. So I can still run a fridge, but you just can't stop overnight. So if I'm heading to a caravan park or something like that and I want to take the fridge, I can't really see me needing to. I can. I can't stop overnight somewhere with the fridge without power. So that's the only restriction. But I can buy an awful lot of ice for the cost of that battery. So $400 worth of ice. So in the last 6 years, my Dirk Hardo trip, that dual battery system, perfect. I had no fears of the solar blanket going walkie bots, and it's worked perfectly well, so don't get me wrong there. But I can't make sense of it. Now, I was at the four-wheel drive show and I was listening to the guys talking, and there's a lot of salesmanship going on here, but not a lot. There was a setup there, and there was the Red Arc Go block. It's a 100 amp lithium battery, and I like the idea of 8,000 cycles, lightweight, and you can move it from vehicle to vehicle, because I've forgotten how many cars I've put in dual battery systems and sold on and lost the whole lot. And the setup there was a guy sitting down next to the river with his Go block and his $1,500 fridge and solar blanket out for a few beers. I thought, well, if you want a few beers alongside the river, just put it in an Esky. You know, it won't last your drinking ability, then it'll last the drinking. So I'll give you a quick look what it looks like on the bonnet now, those will follow my videos, and where we go in the future. I've looked an awful lot at the lithium batteries, and I'm more confused now than when I started. Some of them are saying, I knew they didn't like to be recharged below zero, but could be discharged. Well, West Australia, it's not much of a problem. But I was reading a report on the number of cycles affected by ambient temperature, and they're talking temperatures over 40 degrees, which is well achievable here. And inside a vehicle, you can get 70. And it reduced their life cycle down from sort of 6,000 to 3.5, and one even quoted 2,500 cycles. Now, a $3,000 lithium Go block isn't even make any sense at all if it's going to be affected badly by heat and vibration. So hopefully something else out there. Now, the only thing I have to rejig now is my camp lighting. But there's plenty of little rechargeable battery banks out there that can run a 1 amp draw for 4 or 5 hours a night. And that's something I will be looking at. So anyway, I'll reset the camera and give you a look under the bonnet. Okay guys, so this is where the battery used to be sitting. So on the tray in there. So these are the injector drivers here. So we don't be messing with those. And some of them, they move this loom over the top to get a 100 amp battery, but use an awfully tight fit. So I've rewired my UHF radio to this accessory fuse box. That's that cable coming in there. Everything's covered in this armoured cable. This is the 20 amp cable, which is running to the back, which has been powering the fridge and the compressor. So I'll need to get some new bolts, and I'll connect that in here where the DC charger was going. I need to get some more outer cabling as well. So that's where we are. It'll be interesting to see if I notice any difference in driving around with a car that's nearly 35 kilos lighter all the time. But I doubt I will. And we shall see what the future brings. I see a very small battery pack coming in the near future, just to run phones and camera gear and stuff like that. Maybe it's chargeable either from this 20 amp lead or a cigarette lighter. But anyway guys, hope this type of content helps you out, helps you make the right decisions for yourself, and I'll catch you next time.